Welcome back to the fundamentals of flipping. I'm Danielle Hayek, and I made $120,000 in my first 12 months as a single mom real estate investor. In the last episode, we talked about how to find your first flip, where deals come from, how to evaluate them, and why so many beginners get stuck in the analysis stage. But once you actually find a property that looks promising, the next question almost everybody asks is, how do I pay for it? And for many people, that question alone is enough to stop them before they even begin. They assume they need hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in a bank account before they can start flipping houses. But the truth is, most house flippers don't use their own money to fund deals. Today, we're going to talk about how flips are actually financed and why the fear of financing is often much bigger than reality. One of the biggest myths about real estate investing is that you need a lot of money to start. Now, of course, having money helps, but it's not the only way deals get done. Real estate investors have been using creative financing strategies for decades. And once you understand how these financing tools work, the idea of flipping a house becomes much less intimidating. The key is understanding that flipping houses is typically a short term investment. You buy the property, you renovate it, and then you sell it. The entire process may only take a few months. Because the investment period is short, the financing options are different from traditional home loans. One of the most common ways flippers finance deals is through hard money loans. Hard money lenders are private lenders who specialize in short term real estate investments. These lenders focus less on your personal income and more on the value of the deal itself. In other words, they look at the property, they look at the after repair value. Then they decide whether the investment makes sense. Hard money loans can often be approved much faster than traditional bank loans, sometimes within days. This speed can make a huge difference when you're competing with other buyers. Now, many people hear about hard money loans and immediately worry about the interest rate. Yes, the interest rate can be higher than a traditional mortgage, sometimes even around 15, 18%. But here's what many people forget: you're not holding that loan for 30 years. You might only use it for 3 to 6 months. When you actually calculate the interest over that short period of time, the difference is just a few $1,000s. And if the deal makes sense, that cost can easily be absorbed into your profits. Another option investors use is a bridge loan. Bridge loans are also short term loans designed to help investors purchase or renovate a property before selling it. Like hard money loans, bridge loans can often be arranged very quickly. And in real estate investing, speed can be extremely valuable. Sometimes the investor who can close the fastest is the one who wins the deal, even if another buyer offers a slightly higher price. Another powerful strategy is private money. Private money comes from individuals rather than institutions. These might be friends, family members, business contacts, or other investors who are interested in earning a return on their money. Some people have savings sitting in a low interest account. When they learn that real estate investors can generate strong returns on short term projects, they may be interested in participating. Private money arrangements can be very flexible. They can be structured in different ways depending on the agreement between the investor and the lender. One of the biggest advantages of these financing options is speed. Traditional bank loans can sometimes take weeks or even months to close, but real estate deals move quickly. When a good property comes on the market, investors often compete for it. Being able to secure financing quickly allows you to act when an opportunity appears. That's one of the reasons many experienced flippers prefer working with hard money lenders or private lenders. The ability to move quickly can make the difference between winning a deal and losing it. Over the years, I've talked to many people who were interested in flipping houses but never got started. And very often the reason was financing. They assumed the numbers wouldn't work. They assumed the interest rates would be too high. Or they simply felt intimidated by the idea of borrowing money. But the truth is that many successful investors started with very little of their own cash. They started by learning how deals are structured. They learned how financing works. And once they understood the process, the fear disappeared. At the end of the day, the most important factor isn't the loan, it's the deal itself. If the numbers make sense, if the renovation budget is realistic, and value supports the investment, then the financing becomes much easier to justify. Experienced investors always focus on whether the deal is profitable. If it is, the financing usually works itself out. Financing your first flip may seem intimidating at first, but once you understand the options available, hard money loans, bridge loans, and private lenders, you realize that there are many ways to fund a deal. The key is learning how to evaluate the opportunities and structure your projects properly. In our next episode, we're going to talk about something every flipper eventually faces: renovation decisions. How much should you spend? Where should you invest your renovation budget? And how do you avoid overspending on upgrades that buyers don't actually care about? Thanks for listening, and as always, happy flipping.